one observation, Sadhguru, which is and a comment. Probably you haven't seen Oh My God. You need to have a look at that, because to get all the spiritual gurus in India under one platform never happens. It only happens when you scare. And since you're using the word screwed up, I'll use the word when you scare the shit out of them. But coming to the serious part of it, I consider you, and I want to give a disclaimer. I really don't. I have a spiritual sense within me, but I don't really follow any spiritual guru. And therefore, when I actually went through internet and heard a few of your interviews in conversation, I found in you a very logical person, a person who is practical, a person who is scientific in his answers, and therefore, there was a connect. But there were two things which actually broke that connect, and there's a disconnect, and I hope you can mend that today. Which is when you talked about, and maybe I got it wrong, so therefore, if you could just kindly explain what you meant by that. That certain women don't need to enter certain temples, or maybe women in certain temples need to stay out. So that's one. And the other is the recent one, where in Jallikattu, you talked about fundamental rights of animals and birds and everything. But in Jallikattu, you supported the other side of it. So why was this? And since it was kept political by Arnab, most part of it, and I think many of us out here were wanting to hear the spiritual side of you, so I'm following it up with a political question.
So we must understand this. There are two reasons. Those people who are propagating certain things, and also there is a certain unfortunate discriminatory process. But essentially, culturally, this nation, before invasions and other things happened, this nation did not have a big discriminatory process between men and women. You look back on the ancient societies here, there was absolutely no discrimination. Most of the country was matriarchal. They obviously, because this is… you must understand, many things today are common between men and women, not because of liberalism, simply because of technology. Technology has leveled the ground in many ways. Your muscle doesn't mean as much as it meant 1,000 years ago. When human beings were doing everything with their body, man's muscles were important. So he dominated the world in a certain way. Once technology came, your muscles, if you have a lot of muscles, we'll give you a menial job, we're not going to make you the boss here. So because of that, things changed slowly. But in the spiritual dimension of this country, there never was any discrimination. You must understand, if you don't know this, as per the Hindu norms, a Hindu man cannot go to heaven without his wife. How nice is that? There are no other apsaras and other whatever, they're not waiting there. You have to go there with your wife. You decide whether you want to go to heaven or not, that's up to you. But a Hindu man cannot go to heaven without his wife next to him. She has to be there. So these are different ways this society addressed this. But when the invasions happened particularly, first thing that they're going for is your wife and your daughter. That's the first thing that people will take away. And it's the most disgraceful thing and the most painful thing. So they all hid them in the granaries of the time. And when continuously these raids were ravaging the society, slowly, don't step out of the house became a norm. Because generation after generation, the raids kept on happening. So there are many historical aspects, leave that. About the temple entry, there is no such thing anywhere that a woman should not enter a temple because she is a woman. Do you understand? It is just that certain temples, they are doing certain occult work. There are certain forces there. I have to talk about biology. One thing is mountain temples, we said women should not go. Because you must understand, those were days… this is a tiger land. When I say tiger land, today the poor tiger has to be protected as if it's a pussycat. Those days they prowled in thousands. Going into the jungle and coming back alive is a big thing. If you don't know this, even today there is a practice that if tribal people walk in the jungle, though there are not so many tigers anymore, they will take some incense and walk because they don't want the wild animals to smell them. There is Samrani in the South Indian temple. You know what Samrani? What do you call it in North? Samrani only, right? Yeah, either they burn it or they smear it on their body and walk so that the wild animals, the carnivorous animals cannot smell you. It is no more relevant because there are not so many left. But at that time it was really tiger country. So the very nature of woman's biology is such that a carnivorous animal will always smell out a woman much more easily than a man. Especially at certain times of the month, it will definitely smell her out. So they said, mountain temples she should not go. All the mountain temples, they're restricted. Now those things are gone, women are equipped in a different way than the way they were at that time, and the wildlife is scant, it is very much possible to go. The other kind of temples where they were asked not to go were where they're doing occult work. When they're doing occult work, I'm telling you, whether you like it or you don't like it, maybe you're liberal, but you don't know the fundamentals of nature. The nature is such that when you do certain occult work, a woman is more susceptible to damage herself in such situation than a man. Even for a man, if there is any injury in the body, they won't let him into that place where they're doing occult because it will affect him. So, this was done with a certain care and concern, not as a discrimination. Today you're taking it up as a political activism and thinking everybody should go to everywhere, it's fine. Then the thing is, you should not do that kind of work because it'll be harmful. Even today in this country, if a woman is in early stage of pregnancy, we won't allow her to come to the funerals. Do you know this? It is a very sensible thing to do. It is not discrimination, it is protection, not just for the woman, but for the child that she carries. It's very, very important. If you do not look at life the way it is, how the life forces function, how it is best for us to be, and if you just talk about social equality, then you will do silly things which will only, in the end, make the woman suffer. But now it's become political activism, probably those temples are not doing any occult of any great strength, so maybe it doesn't matter, that's a different matter. But if you're talking politics, if you're talking about equality, there are only two places where you should be even concerned whether somebody is a man or a woman. What is in somebody's pants is not your business. Only in bedrooms and bathrooms you must be concerned about these things.
Sadhguru, if I may, completely, totally, 1000% disagree with you. I have… in this country, the problem has been that a lot of people take upon themselves the responsibility of protecting women.
Let
me give you my perspective, Sadhguru. You see, in this country of ours, at one point of time, it was also told that sati is tradition. So we must…
Shall I clear that? Now you raise something, shall I clear that?
Let me complete the point. The second point is, there are no tigers who are going to eat women when they go to Shani Shignapur or Sabarimala. By your own argument, there was a rationale, you say, for not letting women, a logical rationale for not letting women into temples earlier. That rationale doesn't exist today.
It doesn't, that's what I'm saying.
So then change the rules, which have been created.
I'm saying just that, where it comes from and where when situations change, we have to change the norms accordingly, that's what I'm saying. And anyway…
No, Sadhguru, see, look at how unfair this is. In this country, there are women who can be divorced on WhatsApp, with triple talaq, on WhatsApp.
That's another matter.
No, it's the same matter. In this country, you must understand the sensibilities of people today. They are going to question what is injustice.
Definitely.
A woman is being kept out of a temple because she is told that she is impure. By the definition of what is pure and impure, if it doesn't apply in today's context, then we need to give voice to that. All I'm saying to you, Sadhguru, is another point of polite disagreement with you, and we will never agree on this point.
We'll come to the agreement, disagreement.
Is that things have changed. I know this personally, Sadhguru. I have some understanding of the pulse of this country. We did